Good morning, Level 7A, and welcome back to our online class. How are you doing today? Good. I'm doing good too, yeah. Have you eaten your breakfast? Please make sure that you've already eaten your breakfast, you're fully fed, and so we can get the class started. All right, also, just a quick reminder, have you done your homework as well? Good. If you have done your homework, please make sure that you send all your homeworks to your homeroom teachers. So he or she can mark your work and give you some scores. There's no homework, there's no scores, correct? All right, so what day are we on today? Yeah, that's right. Today we're on Wednesday, July 8th, 2020. So we're on Wednesday today, right? Good. So for session 1, we're going to be covering up blueprint 2. Just make sure that you have your blueprint 2 and open your book to page 39. Now in blueprint 2 session 1, we're going to be covering unit 3, your university. Today we're going to be focusing on grammar, how many and how much. So we're going to distinguish the difference between how many and how much, okay? But before we go there, let's do a quick lesson review on what we've done so far. Do you remember what we did in blueprint 2 yesterday in our class? Good. Okay, so you can see on the whiteboard, right? Okay, so yesterday we did lesson 2, where I go to school. And we also read the model and listen to the model conversation as well, right? Do you remember that? Good. We also did some vocabulary with its definitions. So let's read the vocabulary together. Fine arts, fine arts. Business, business administration, business administration. Nursing, nursing. Mathematics, elementary education, elementary education. Physical education, physical education. Cosmetology, cosmetology. Software engineering, software engineering. And also remember, we also did another word. What was the word? Department. Yep, we did department. And also we did, what was the other word? Did we do any more words, or we just did department yesterday? Department, right? Okay, so let's read one more time. Fine arts, business administration, nursing, mathematics, elementary education, physical education, cosmetology, software engineer, software engineering, department, department. Okay, also we covered in grammar, we also distinguished the difference between countable and uncountable nouns in a chart. So today we're going to be talking about how much and how many, also refers to uncountable and countable nouns as well. All right. So for this session in Unit 3, your university, we're going to be covering how much and how many. So what is the difference between how much and how many? Let's first have a look at the difference of how much. Now, how much here, how much can also be used when we want to know the price of something, okay? So when you want to know the price of something, you can say how much. You can ask the question, how much? How much is this? How much is a bottle of milk? How much is a bottle of Coke? How much is this pair of shoes? Okay? But in this case, we can use how much with countable nouns, okay? So a lot of people say how much is uncountable, but in this case, we can say countable nouns, okay? Both singular and plural nouns. But generally, how much, is used with an uncountable nouns, okay? With an uncountable nouns. So we have how much plus uncountable nouns, okay? So basically, not only that we can use it with countable nouns, both singular and plural nouns, but how much is generally using with an uncountable nouns, like I said before, okay? It is an exception when we want to use it, or when we want to use it in a question like how much is this bottle of milk? How much is a pair of shoes? Okay, so then it becomes countable nouns. Okay, we can use it as a countable nouns. But when we are not using it with an uncountable nouns, also right. Okay, for example here, how much milk is in the fridge? How much milk is in the fridge? So do we know how much milk is in the fridge? Of course we don't. So it becomes uncountable nouns. Right? So how much milk is in the fridge? The second one example, how much is that painting? How much is that painting? Now, at this point, with this question, we're asking for price, asking for how much it is, okay? So like I said here, asking for price. How much is this painting? So then it becomes countable nouns, okay? Right, so also uncountable nouns basically means something that we cannot be count, okay? We cannot count them. Like we said it before in a couple of days, lessons ago, we said like rice. Rice are uncountable nouns. Why? Because you cannot take rice and you cannot count. I mean, you can count them, but we generalize it that we cannot count rice. Can we count water? Is water countable or uncountable? Right, we can count water if it's in a bottle of milliliters, okay? If it's measured in milliliters or in liters, right? You can count them. But we cannot measure or we cannot count water, okay? So we cannot count liquid. So liquid becomes an uncountable nouns. Like milk, like water, like petrol, okay? Like gasoline. So liquid, soup, you cannot count soup. Of course, you can count the quantity of how many plate of soup or bowl of soup we have, but you cannot individually pick up a soup and start counting, okay? That would be forever. Right. Let's have a look at how many. Now, how many is used when we want to know the quantity. Okay, so how many is used when we want to know the quantity of something? It is only used with plural countable nouns. How many plus plural nouns. So what are plural nouns? Something that's more than one. All right, so for example here I have, how many days are there in January? How many days are there in January? Now notice that days are plural nouns. Okay, so what am I asking here? How many days are there in January? Can you count them? Of course we can. So we take out our calendar and we know automatically that we know generally there are 365 days in a year. Okay, so we know that how many days are there in a year in January? Now, how many days are there in January? 31 days. We know that because we can count them, okay? It's the same thing when I say how many days are there in a year? There are 365 days in a year. How many days are there in January? There are 31 days in January. Okay, let's look at the second example. How many cousins do you have? How many cousins do you have? Well, I have 7 cousins. I count them, okay? They're countable nouns, okay? I can count them, easy, because they're each an individual person, okay? Another example, how many branches of ABI do we have in Phnom Penh? We can say there are 23 branches of ABI in Phnom Penh. Okay, they are, it's a countable nouns. All right, so now we know the difference between uncountable and countable nouns. Okay, so countable nouns are something that we can count. It's nouns that we can count, and uncountable nouns are nouns that can't be counted. Okay, right. Now let's have a quick look at our class practice. Fill in the blanks with how many, how much, a lot of, and some. Number 1, milk do I need to get? Milk do I need to get? Okay, how much? Yeah, how much? Because we're asking for liters. We cannot count. So I can say, how much milk do I need to get? Can you please get 3 liters of milk for me? Okay. Number 2, potatoes should I buy? Potatoes should I buy? How many? I can count them. Because if I want 2 potatoes, I say, can you please buy me 2 potatoes? Number 3, can I have money? Can I have money? So, can I have some money? Good. Number 4, I have food left in the fridge. I have food left in the fridge. I have some food left. Okay, number 5. More do I need to pay you? More do I need to pay you? How much more? All right, so these are the class practice. Don't worry, you will get more class activity, classwork and homework regarding to all of this work as well. So don't worry about it. You get extra plenty practice with countable and uncountable nouns. So tomorrow I'm going to ask you what are countable and what are uncountable nouns, okay? I'm sure and I will be very, very glad to hear that you all know the answers for tomorrow, okay? All right, so this is for today, our session 1 for blueprint 2. How much and how many with our grammar section. All right, that's all from me to you. I'll see you in section 2. Goodbye for now.